So if you're a longtime fan of Call of Duty, then you definitely know that one of the most popular modes of all time is the campaign mode. Up until recent years when online gaming became bigger, campaign mode was definitely the most popular mode in Call of Duty. Lately, they've been trending away from the campaign mode, and even a more recent Call of Duty game didn't even feature a campaign mode at all. But have you ever thought and wondered where do they get the idea for these missions, these storylines, and things like that? Well, the short answer to that is real life situations. Now, obviously not every campaign mission in every Call of Duty game is real. Like, do you really think that Kevin Spacey is some evil villain that's trying to take over the world? Let's be serious. But some of the missions throughout Call of Duty history have included real people and real life situations that they may have stretched or dragged. And that brings me to the point of today's video about the man whose family sued Call of Duty over his portrayal in the campaign of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. So let's get into this story to break down what really happened and why his family sued Call of Duty. So the first mission in Black Ops 2 is called Pyrrhic Victory, and if you don't remember, in this mission, Hudson and Mason take off to find Frank Woods, and in this mission you meet a man named Jonas Savimbi, and I just want to apologize now if I'm pronouncing his name wrong throughout the video, but in this mission where Hudson and Mason go off to find Woods, during this flashback mission, it takes us back to Angola in 1986 during the Angolan Civil War. Now, this is actually a real thing that happened, but of course Call of Duty did stretch it and put their own little take on it. So let me tell you a little bit about what really happened. So of course Jonas Savimbi was a real person who actually did fight for his country. Now, Savimbi joined the MPLA youth program to get a better understanding of what it was all about. And eventually Savimbi was rejected by the MPLA, which is the People's Movement for Liberation of Angola. And then later on he joined FNLA, which was the National Liberation Front of Angola, and that was in 1964. So fast forward to later in that same year, Savimbi left the FNLA and decided to make his own union, which was the National Union for Total Independence of Angola, which was also known as UNITA or UNITA. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the acronym is UNITA. So he created his own union to overthrow any Portuguese threats that was in the country of Angola, as well as any opposing threats such as FNLA and MPLA, which he was a member of both. This then led to the civil war that you see taking place in the actual Black Ops 2 mission. So Angola gained independence in 1975, and that was the spark of the civil war between the MPLA and the National Union for Total Independence, which I said was UNITA. And this civil war started because the MPLA wanted the country to be more communistic, while Savimbi and his union was against communism and wanted democracy. And you may be thinking at this point, okay, well, where does the United States come into this? Where does Call of Duty tie in? Where does Hudson and Wood even end up in this situation? Well, during the time that all of this was going on, another political thing was going on between the United States and the USSR, known as the Cold War. So another battle similar to what's going on between communism and democracy, this easily caught the attention of the United States. The United States supported Savimbi and his union so that democracy could overcome the communism in Angola. But to aid Savimbi and help him out in the ongoing civil war in the country, the United States sent over CIA agents to help out Angola and Savimbi in their war. And this is where it ties back into Black Ops 2, because in the game, these CIA agents are Hudson and Mason. So during the mission in Black Ops 2, you constantly hear Jonas telling his men to kill as many MPLA soldiers as possible.
Our journey to victory has begun! Death to the MPLA!
When we see him, he's holding like a grenade launcher, he's fighting, he's yelling, he's like a true leader and everything like that in the game. Like he was in real life, a true leader, not a rocket holding super soldier. So once all the MPLA forces in the game were gone, Hudson arrived on a helicopter to the battlefield, and that's when Savimbi gave him intel on where Woods was located, and then he points Hudson and Mason into the right direction to go get him. And after that, you don't really see him anymore until the very end of the level, where he arrives in an army helicopter fighting against the Cuban forces that attacked our characters in the game, Mason, Hudson, and Woods, as we try to escape. So you may be wondering where the problem came in at, or why did his family try to sue Call of Duty for this? Well, Savimbi's kids didn't really like the way the game pictured him. They said that they think Call of Duty made Savimbi seem very barbaric, and according to their lawyer, quote unquote, a big half-wit who wants to just kill everybody. Now, I don't know the definition of the word half-wit, but I'll make sure I leave the description in the video so you aren't as confused as I am. Anyways, the lawsuit stated that Savimbi was in fact a political leader and strategist, not a gunslinging war general that wanted to kill everyone like Call of Duty made him seem. And in the missions, he was constantly saying, "Fight my brothers," holding grenade launchers, encouraging everyone to kill everyone. But like, that's Call of Duty. Like, that's kind of the goal of the whole game, to kill the bad guys in the missions and this and that, right? So his 3 kids that decided to sue Call of Duty were from France. And France does have extremely strict laws on both defamation of character laws and a person's rights of publicity. And according to a law firm agency, this wasn't really surprising that they decided to sue, since it's so easy to formulate the basis of a legal argument, where in a case like this, the character in the game is either based on a real person or inspired by a real person. So if the person or the family of the person doesn't like how the person is portrayed in the game or even the movie, they could easily try to make a legal lawsuit and stuff like that. And of course, this doesn't always work, but most people can do it. But there was a minor problem with all of this. Well, kind of a major problem, I guess you could say, because this lawsuit took place in 2016 and Savimbi was killed in battle by Angolan government troops way back in 2002. Savimbi reportedly sustained 15 gunshot wounds to the head, throat, upper body, and legs. And as I said, this was a major problem in the lawsuit. A lawyer named Alex Tuddy stated that a claim for defamation in the case of a dead person is extremely difficult, and it can even be impossible to do in some places. Well, as I said before, France was super strict on their defamation laws, and with the kids who decided to sue being from France, this definitely helped their case, because France has laws that does permit if the defamation is harming the deceased person's relatives or their reputation. And in a sense, you could argue that Call of Duty was ruining their reputation and having an effect on its relatives and kids. Like, imagine how you would feel if you had a family member who you view as like a hero, peaceful, this and that, fighting for what they believed in, a leader, whatever, right? I mean, this man was elected Angolan president in 2002. And a movie comes out, or in this case a game, just completely showing that person as something you don't believe he was and that others don't think that he was, which is in this case a crazy war general. I mean, Frank Woods even had a quote during the mission like, "If you think I'm crazy, wait till you meet this guy." And he was talking about Jonas Savimbi. So they literally just painted him as like a crazy war general that just wanted to kill everyone, and that was a problem that the family had. And because of this problem, they tried to sue Activision for 1 million euros. And if you're wondering how much 1 million euros is in USD, it's closer to like 1.1 million, so that's about $100,000 more. And if you're wondering how Activision and their lawyers responded to this, Etienne Kowalski, which was the lawyer for Activision Blizzard, rejected the claim, and he stated that the game actually represented Savimbi as a good guy, and that he is portrayed fairly for his role and who he was, which was a character of Angolan history and a guerrilla chief who fought the MPLA. Which, in that context, they also have a very valid point. That's what he was. He was the chief of a side that was fighting in a civil war, and he was a part of Angolan history. He was a good guy fighting the quote-unquote bad guys, depending on which side you look at it as. And that's all there was to it in the eyes of Activision. His daughter Chia, or Shea Savimbi, I'm bad with names, so if I pronounce that wrong, I apologize, said in court that seeing him kill people, cutting someone's arm off, that wasn't dad. And his family also stated that they were outraged at the depiction of him in the game. And of course, the Activision lawyer Kowalski argued that this case was about freedom of expression. Kowalski also reportedly said that Savimbi was a warlord, that there was no possible contest to that. And with that being said, this case didn't make it very far in court. A French court actually ended up rejecting it, and the whole thing was just dismissed. And this wasn't the first time that a person or his family tried to sue Call of Duty for their role in the game or the portrayal of them in the game. Back in 2014, a Panamanian dictator known as Manuel Noriega attempted to also sue Call of Duty over the portrayal of himself in the game. So if you want to hear more about that, let me know, and I'll make sure the next video is about that in that case and everything that happened behind it. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Any feedback is good feedback to me. As always, I appreciate all the love and support, and I'll catch y'all boys in the next banger, man.
Bye, have a beautiful time.